Hi, I'm actually sick today, but I'm still gonna go to class and everything because I have a midterm on Thursday and there's a review today. So it's on East Asian philosophy, particularly Korean Neo-Confucianism. So I'm just gonna make videos today because I will not have time tomorrow at all, or Thursday. So I'm gonna make a lot of videos today. Um, I want to talk about, I guess, what phenomenology is to Jacques Derrida. Um, I'm writing a 20-page paper about Jacques Derrida's critique of Husserlian phenomenology, which is really about Husserl's idea of intentional consciousness and what consciousness is to phenomenology. Phenomenology had a big influence on Derrida, and I just kind of I'm reading out of this book. This book is it's called Deconstruction and the Remainders of Phenomenology. It's by Rajan, which is a author that I had not heard of before. But this is a very helpful book because it talks about phenomenology, of course, and deconstruction, but it also goes into figures like Sartre, Michel Foucault, and Jean Baudrillard. I don't know a whole lot about Baudrillard. I haven't really read a whole lot of Baudrillard, but Foucault I have read some about. A lot of this book is not pertinent to my issue, but Rajan talks about Husserl as well as Derrida's being influenced by Husserl. So I just kind of want to think about, I guess my reason for thinking out of this book is about chapter 4, Existence and Method. Derrida's early texts on Husserl. In '67, Derrida published of Grammatology, Speech and Phenomena. Speech and Phenomena is most of where my writing on Derrida and Husserl come from in my 20-page paper that I'm constantly working on. But I think in here in Rajan's writing, in discussion of Derrida's writings on Husserl, kind of gives you an idea of what Derrida is thinking about when he refers to Husserl. And this is Rajan talking about an interview between Jacques Derrida and Kristeva. Kristeva is another postmodernist theorist. In Derrida's 1971 interview with Kristeva, Derrida identifies phenomenology with the view that meaning is given to consciousness in an intuition free of difference. Difference is that part of difference. Difference and difference are pronounced the same, but just the one with the A is that noun word, non-concept, of that as a difference and deferral are part of difference, and I'm using the French pronunciation différence to refer to the one with the A, and difference to refer to the one with the E, even though they're pronounced the same in French. He associates phenomenology with pure meanings purged of material residue, which confer on consciousness a similar pre-semiotic purity. To be sure, he recognizes phenomenology's negative value as the origin of the aporia that continue to organize deconstruction. So that was kind of all I was going to think about out of that book. I've been reading it because it has a lot to say about. It has a lot of good secondary references, or references to what to the little thing between Derrida and Husserl, as well as Derrida's critique of Husserl. This kind of gives you a good idea as to what Derrida is thinking about when he thinks about the method phenomenology. Now, phenomenology is that dictum from Husserl, which I've talked about many, many times, to the things themselves. When I hold up this pen, for instance, like I've done this example a million times, we're talking about the phenomena of the pen suspending inquiry into whether this phenomena, or this experience of the pen, is mind-dependent or dependent. We're just going to study the phenomena. We're going to study how we're going to study our intentional consciousness, and we're going to study the phenomena that is given to us. And this comes from Husserl's logical investigation, as well as the ideas, and the later phenomenology. You find a lot of that, but it's developed, into different ideas. Like in the Cartesian meditations, you'll see these concepts developed into into things about intersubjectivity and the experience of other minds and such. So, what phenomenology is doing, in my opinion, it's pretty much saying that we are not going to study things that we can't perceptually access. We can't perceptually access matters of metaphysics, or as to whether there are universals or tropes. Now, there's that's a big, huge argument. If there's a couple people I know that would hear me saying that, I'd probably get slapped. But phenomenology is just saying that, well, we're gonna that there is consciousness. There is consciousness, and because of the Cartesian cogito and various other arguments as to what consciousness is. Husserl's transcendental ego is pretty much saying that it's like a essential characteristic of the kind or type of thing that is of a being conscient or sentient of things outside itself, or a certain aboutness or within that consciousness. And what Derrida is saying about this consciousness, this thing in itself, he says that the thing in itself within consciousness, spatial consciousness, is that this thing in itself eludes you, and he says that Husserl is not accounting for difference in there. Difference in this instance referring to consciousness for Derrida is a repeatable ideality or a repetitive unity that is indivisible. So difference would make this possibility of this thing in itself not being able to grasp it. So he's kind of saying that Husserl is kind of putting meaning into this consciousness. He's saying that phenomenology of Husserl is just saying that, well, we have this consciousness, and in consciousness is given us meaning, true meaning. And in a way, Husserl does say that, but the method itself does not say that. Husserl says that. Husserl, in a way, does say that. I will give Derrida that. He can critique Husserl of saying stuff like that, which is indicative of Husserl's thought that there is meaning in consciousness. Derrida would never say anything like that. Never say meaning or presence or is really anything anywhere, because he would be committing the crime of logocentrism and metaphysics of presence. And he's saying that phenomenology does do a metaphysics of presence by saying that there is meaning in consciousness. And that is a lot of what Husserl says, but the method itself does not say that. Husserl kind of, it's kind of hard to talk about how Husserl does kind of indicate meaning to be somewhere in this consciousness, but the method really doesn't. So it's going to be hard for me to argue that in my paper, but I guess the whole point is that the whole point pretty much is that I guess what I'm going to argue against Derrida is that the phenomenological intentional consciousness, the stream of consciousness, the transcendental ego, when Husserl describes it, is not saying that it is in no way saying that from this transcendental ego you will find meaning in phenomena. But Derrida is a lot of what he's saying is that when you experience a certain phenomena, what you're saying is that there's going to be no difference here, difference in Derridian terms. There will be no difference, and that we will be able to grasp this phenomena, and whenever we would like, and thus we are able to kind of do things and to understand this phenomena and this consciousness that is, and the thing is given in this consciousness. I disagree with Derrida there. By having a phenomenological method like Husserl's, it is not saying that in this consciousness that there will be meaning in this. It's not saying that, you know, we're going to have consciousness and what is given to us in consciousness will be meaningful, and that we will be able to analyze it and to understand this phenomena and this consciousness that is, and the thing is given in this consciousness. I disagree with Derrida there. By having a phenomenological method like Husserl's, it is not saying that in this consciousness that there will be meaning in this. It's not saying that, you know, we're going to have consciousness and what is given to us in consciousness will be meaningful, and that we will be able to analyze it according to its meaning. And it's difficult to argue because there is, according to Husserl, a noesis, there's a noesis and a noema. A noema is the object of the intentional act. It's thus the marker itself. But the understanding and the intended meaning of what this is to me, and within this world, is the noesis. That is how I understand of what this can do. You know, how I can write stuff with it or highlight stuff in a book or whatever. That's my understanding of this. That's my noesis. And Husserl says that there is a noesis, because it doesn't matter what you're really talking about. If there was no noesis at all in the world, we would not know what to do with anything. We would not understand anything. We'd be like, what is this, or what is this, or you know, what is this? What do I do with this? But nobody really asks that, because everybody knows what to do with this. But it's kind of a hard thing to really discuss. It's kind of a hard thing to get at, this little Derrida Husserl, you know, critique. I mean, Derrida critiqued Husserl after Husserl was dead, but you know, it's kind of a hard thing to really get at. It's kind of a hard thing to really critique as well. That is what my paper is doing. Really, it's arguing against what Derrida says about Husserl's phenomenological method. And Husserl says that Husserl does, in some places in his texts, say that there is meaning here or meaning there. So Husserl himself does commit, in a sense, some metaphysics of presence and some logocentrism, but his method that he gives in the ideas and the logical investigations, as well as in the different corollaries of method given in the Cartesian Meditations and the Crisis of European Sciences, the method he gives in itself does not, is not going to lead you towards committing logocentrism or metaphysical presence. The method given in Husserl's writing is not going to point to meaning or presence anywhere. It's just all that his meaning, or all that Husserl's method will do, is to direct you back to this perception. Because, as Husserl will tell you, there is in fact a cogito. There is in fact a I think, and there is in fact consciousness. Now there are people who will argue against consciousness as being even a thing, but the fact that I'm talking to you about anything, the fact that I'm, trying to understand things, the fact that I'm thinking about, the fact that you're thinking, is in fact a proof, a rational justification of yours and mine and anybody else's consciousness. Now, anybody else's consciousness is a little bit of a bigger issue. That's the problem of other minds. But you can justify your own consciousness, and I can justify my own. The fact that I'm thinking, the cogito being, or myself being a example of the cogito, is in fact a rational proof, a rational justification of there being consciousness, because I am conscious. That's the only thing that could kind of crumble my little, argument against Derrida, is the fact of the possibility of our conscience being disproven. But I don't see this. I don't see that happening. But in my opinion, Husserl, in his writing, will hint at there being meaning or logos anywhere. He will do that because he has done that before. If you read his texts, you will find that. But his method of the reductions, the intentionality, the things in themselves, the basic phenomenological methods that has influenced lots of 20th century continental thought. There is no logocentrism being done there. There is no metaphysics of presence being done there, because all that is being done by Husserl is saying that we should focus on what is given to us in consciousness, and that's it. And if there is any meaning anywhere, it will be found there, and not where, and not what the realists and not what the metaphysical realists or the metaphysicians are gonna try and do. It's not so much like that. It's like I said, it is difficult to really discuss, because you have to discuss a lot of things to kind of make my point, or to really make your point about what you're saying with this little dilemma. But I guess to disprove Derrida, I think that it can be shown that he himself is doing logocentrism, and he himself is committing logocentrism by saying that the only thing that consciousness could be is difference, or the thing itself eluding you. And I think that it also can be shown to be a misunderstanding of what the thing about what the thing in itself is, and of what the transcendental ego is, what the stream of consciousness is. all that this is really is saying that the transcendental ego, the stream of consciousness, is all of us, in that we are all, or any one of us, is this intentionally conscious being. You know, I can only verify myself, but in verifying myself, I am verifying the fact that I am conscious of things. And this argument is very Cartesian, but all that it's saying is that I'm conscious, and in my consciousness, there are things coming in. There are things given in given consciousness. There are things given to me. And in my verification of myself, in my own consciousness, in my doubt and thought, again, this is very Cartesian, you know, I am able to verify that there are things coming in. In my doubt and thought about myself, and as well as other things, you know, I can also verify that there are things coming in. I don't know what is really coming in, but I know that there is a intentional consciousness in me where things are coming inward towards me. Like when I perceive this thing, this is something, a perception coming inward. So that is all that Husserl is really doing by taking over the cogito of Descartes. That is really what Husserl is doing, and he's building a method around this fact that any one of us is conscious and sentient and exists, based upon the Cartesian argument, and also there are things coming in intentional consciousness that we are all examples of, and we can build a method around that. That is what the phenomenological method is. The method of how to analyze what is coming in, and not to analyze it based on whether it's mind-dependent or independent. And there is a thing in itself. The thing in itself is the things, the individual acts that make up intentional consciousness. That is what the thing in itself is. The phenomena, the things that make up the intentional consciousness. And in that, nowhere is it hinted that there is meaning anywhere. Just saying, it's just all that Husserl's method is doing is stating the fact that any one of us is conscious. And I'm saying any one of us because I'm not going to say all of us, because that kind of goes to problem of other mind stuff. Any one of us is conscious, and that in this consciousness we have to build a method around that to analyze it correctly without bringing ourselves into pseudo issues of mostly metaphysics. And what Derrida is saying primarily is that Derrida is pretty much saying that Husserl is not accounting for difference or deferral in his arguments for intentional consciousness, and that that his thing in itself is doing a metaphysics of presence and a logocentrism, when really it's not. So it's just saying it's just accounting for the Cartesian argument and building this phenomenological method around it as a way to analyze these things that are given to us in intentional consciousness. And yes, I think that Husserl does say that there is going to be never mind. Again, this is a very difficult thing. You know, I could talk about this for a long time, just trying to explain myself. But it's kind of difficult. So it's kind of difficult for me to even like just talk about what I'm thinking about. It's kind of hard to get this out as well as onto paper. That's why it's really kind of helpful that I'm making this. But I don't know. I think that Derrida's argument against Husserl's critique, or against Husserl's intentional consciousness, is problematic. It's incorrect, because even though Husserl does hint at some meaning, or at some meaning being here or there, his method doesn't. He gives a method that is clear of that, and leads one to only being it also leads one to investigating things that are only things that are given to us, and there are things given to us or there are things that are given to us in virtue of the cogito argument by Descartes. And I'm trying to think about how else I could discuss this, but if I haven't made myself clear, just message me or something. I mean, it's a very difficult thing for me to kind of talk about, because there's so many like intricate and minute details here that it's difficult to kind of figure out what is going on, and to even make sure that my argument against Derrida is valid and sound. Yeah, and this kind of talking about this in this video has made me kind of think about Husserl and his use of the cogito. But I'm sorry if this was a ramble.